Welcome back to Aravaipa Trail Talk, episode 66. Today we're talking about all things Silverton, Colorado. The Hardrock 100 is coming up, and I'm heading up there.
Yeah.
What is up, Matt? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing since the last time we spoke?
I'm trying to think. I think on air I determined I was number one on the wait list, and that was shocking because I had checked the day before, and I was third. So I was starting to sweat a little bit, and my coach was like, "See, this is why you need to be consistent in your training for moments like this." And I believe it was Friday. I don't remember what day it was, but I got a call. I actually had a missed call. It said from Betsy Kalmeyer. You know who Betsy is?
I do not.
She's like a 18-time Hard Rock finisher, something like that. She's won the race several times. She set the record on the Colorado Trail. So she's a legend, lives in Leadville. Yep. For some reason, I had Betsy's phone number mixed up with Dale Garland's phone number in my phone. So I had like a missed call from Betsy Kalmeyer. I was like, that's weird. Maybe she's on the committee. I don't know. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I hear a male voice answer it. And I was like, is this Dale? And so I was like, is this the call? And he's like, yes, this is the call. So he said, do you want to come and run in the mountains with us in a couple weeks? And, I accepted the position. So I do have to shout out Robert Andrulis. He is here locally, and he's the one that dropped out that opened up a spot for me. So my brother's still in. It sounds like we might have a Curry showdown this year. He says he's feeling good.
What do you think you're coming in as the betting favorite? No, wow.
I don't think so. I mean, dude, this guy, despite having his Achilles injury, I think like he has so much more fitness than me, even with taking time off. There's no way I'm the favorite. No. Coming off my worst Hard Rock ever last year, I'm just hoping to feel good and not throw up this year.
And your first time this direction as well. Nick has experienced both directions, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's run it either way several times. He ran this direction the very first time he ran Hard Rock, 2008. So I've paced this direction a bunch of times. But yeah, one thing, I don't know if we talked about it last year, but they say you're not a true Hard Rocker until you run both directions. Because they do switch, for those that don't know much about Hard Rock, they switch directions of the loop each year, which is kind of a cool feature of it. I don't know of many other, if any other races do that. It's pretty cool. So,
yeah.
Never got the chance to run it this direction. Of course, I'm going to take the opportunity to give it a shot. I think I have a 7-day run streak right now. So I think, ever since last week's show, I've been diligent in getting my runs in. So that's my story. We're going to toe the line a week from Friday.
Always time to cram for the test, you know?
Exactly. I'll be heading up Thursday or Friday, up to Silverton. So I'll get about a week of altitude. We have our Kendall Mountain and Silverton Alpine races this weekend, which we talked about last week. Registration closed online, I believe, yesterday, but we will, of course, have race day signups or packet pickup if you want to come and join us, or if you're just in town, you can get a 50K in. You can get a run up to the top of Kendall. It'll be a good time. It's a great way to kind of kick off the Hard Rock week.
Yeah. And, of course, we've got some sweet merch to accompany that race weekend. So anyone who just has a passion for Silverton, Colorado can find their merch on the Mountain Outpost shop, shop.mountainoutpost.com. Plenty of fun stuff between our Silverton collection, our Run Steep, Get High stuff, all the things.
Yeah, if you guys want to support what we do check it out. So, Matt, you just did a race. I want to hear about that. Tell us what you just did.
I did the iconic Downtown Road Mile in Flagstaff.
Nice. For those that don't know about it, why is it iconic? What's the story behind it?
Well, it's iconic, I think, just because. Well, in actuality, there's a ton of elites that live and train in Flagstaff. So you have these like super competitive elite fields with Olympians who are out crushing it, but it's like this just epic event in a small mountain town where you run 2 laps around downtown. Nice
so is it
little
like
mile.
a square kind of loop?
Yep.
2 laps?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. I want to say 46 feet of elevation gain, so not flat.
Nice. At altitude, of course.
Yep, at 7,000 feet. And so it is as brutal as everyone would think that it is.
All right. I think the folks out there want to know, do you know the winning times? And then what was your time?
I don't know the winning times.
I think it was low 4. I saw a couple videos.
They were
for
both
the
course
men,
records
like
for men and women.
Maybe 4:10 or just under.
Yeah, I don't
Something like that.
I don't even know who won the men's race. I know that Rachel Smith, formerly Rachel Schneider, won the women's race in a new course record, and the first person to become a 3-time downtown road mile champion.
Nice.
Saw Molly Seidel out and about in the streets. Saw Jared Hazen.
Nice.
The legends were out, supporting
How many
the
people
4th
do
of
this
July.
race? Is it like 400 or 500, or is it like a couple hundred?
No, it's probably a couple hundred,
Okay.
maybe.
And what was your time?
I don't know my official time.
Okay.
I don't know that results have been officially posted. My watch said 5:58,
Nice.
which is about where I expected my fitness to be.
Legit.
But I mean, I've run like 4:20 for a mile in college, so
Smoking.
my fitness is a long ways away from where maybe it used to be. But it was fun. It was great. If I were at sea level with a pair of Alpha Flies, probably would have run sub 5.
Well, you got a baseline for next year when you've had like a full year at altitude.
Yeah, and just maybe like a year of running would be
Perfect.
Would be good. But I've lined up healthy, and I came out of it healthy, which are the two most important things.
Nice. And we got to touch base with the man behind the computer over here, Bryce. You also did a race recently. Can you tell? This is a unique one, so I want to hear a little bit more about it.
Yeah, let me actually pop this up on the screen here because we got even a little shout out in I Run Far, which is kind of cool. So this week I ran the Circle of Hell race, which is a fat ass style race at Pima Canyon Trailhead, South Mountain. The idea is to do the hottest time of the day on statistically the hottest day of the year. It's 3 hours, 1 mile loops on like a rolling trail course. And yeah, it was fun. We brought out like a whole aid station crew. We had a pop-up and ice sponges. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And how'd you do, Bryce?
I did pretty good. I was happy. I ended up getting first place with 21 laps, which was the goal. There was a little bit of prize money involved. I was shooting for that. I think 22 is possible. I think 23. I mean, we'll see what happens in the years to come. I think this year there were 75 participants. Which
Ooh, that's flirting with like.
right.
You can't do that.
Well, 70 or 75 bibs were polled anyway. Were taken.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But this was created by Clint Green, so we got to shout him out. I think he passed it on to some other folks now, but pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was fun.
Nice. This is not unheard of, doing these sort of like unofficial heat races. I can think of a couple other ones. There's one that Art Bork locally puts on. He does a handicapped race up Piestewa Peak.
Oh.
Typically, I think maybe in August. And so he'll handicap people like kind of like the Dipsy race. He'll have the fastest folks start at the very end, and everyone races up, and it's the first to hit the summit. Or some years he does like a 1-lap circumference race around Piestewa. And then James Bonet does like a birthday run in August where he sends folks across the Phoenix Mountains Preserve with like a ton of climbing on like some hot day in August. Have you done that one yet?
No, I'm aware of it.
Okay.
I am afraid of it.
Afraid of it.
Friends trying to convince me to sign up.
Oh, come
for
on.
it.
After what you just did out here.
Well-
Was it a hot day? Like historically hot, or was it kind
It
of
was a
just
little
moderate?
humid. No, it was like 104.
Yeah.
So relatively speaking, not bad. But
I mean, it's true. It could have been like 118.
110, yeah, 118.
I just hear that every time somebody finishes that course, James goes and he redoes it, so it's harder every single year. It's more challenging, more climbing.
It's like a Barkley-esque
a
situation.
little bit.
Nice.
I would like to do it one day. I have a buddy trying to convince me to do it this year, so we'll see.
Sweet. Good stuff. Well, just a reminder to those of you tuning in live, we really appreciate you guys supporting this show and being in here with us each week. We will open it up to questions, so I don't know if we have any yet, but we love the audience participation here.
We We do have a few. Let's see. I can shout a couple out here real quick if you guys don't mind. Well, still we still have the Arlen Glick conversation going about why isn't he sponsored. Let's see. Is there going to be live coverage at Hardrock?
There won't be no live stream. There will probably be I Run Far updates. There typically is. They do have satellite trackers on people, so you can watch the dots going around the mountains. I don't know. We haven't talked about this yet, but if we have some folks out there, we might try and do some social coverage about the Curry Showdown.
Yeah.
Possibly could be kind of fun. Other than that, I don't know. I don't think the race does their own, so we'll just kind of have to see. And service is limited out there too. You're in some pretty remote sections. Obviously, there's some towns, but
I mean, even you can see it behind you. Like this whole video is just. I mean.
oh, burrito. Oh, I'm definitely gonna be doing some burritos. Sorry, I was just thinking about that. I don't think I prepared very well last year.
Well, did you have the burritos ready?
I don't know.
Based on this video.
Dude, last year was not good. I haven't released my Hard Rock video from last year yet, but I might have to put a couple like teaser clips out there on my Instagram just to show you like how bad it was, because it was awful.
2022 is a new year.
The two lowest moments, I mean, well, actually there's quite a few low moments, but start throwing up at mile 14. I think I ate an expired goo packet, which is just so stupid to do. It's like, how cheap are you? Like, it's fine. I'll use this like leftover one that we can't give to our participants anymore, but like I can keep eating them. It's bad. Come on. It's not good.
So you didn't have your nutrition plan very dialed.
No, it was like off the cuff. And then I think I had just gone to Mount Marathon and then went straight to Kendall and definitely was not well rested going into this thing. So I can't promise that I will be well rested this time, but I'm going to try.
All you can do is your best.
And then, once I started, I don't even know if I've really told my story of what happened last year, but we'll get into it a little bit. Have you heard much about it?
I don't think so. I've heard about you puking at like mile 10, basically.
Yeah, so throwing up, and then I was like, oh, like, thank goodness I threw up. Like, I'm going to feel better. I go down to Maggie Aid Station, try and put some food down, and like a mile up the trail, same thing. It all just comes right back up. And so it just turned into like, tried to like sip on a little broth at Pole Creek, but there's not a lot of aid stations out in that area. You're kind of in the most remote section of the race, the Pole Creek to Sherman. And so basically just didn't eat anything from mile 14 to I think like 28 or 29. Just like, and that was many hours because I'm sitting on the side of the trail, just like, I can't move. I'm sick. At one point, I laid down on the side of the trail and I put my head into an anthill. So I've got like ants just like crawling in my hair. It was just awful. Absolutely insult to injury.
Just when you think things can't get any worse.
Yeah, lay down in an anthill. Yeah, it's so great. So anyways, eventually I got some food in me, crawled my way up and over handies. But I was pretty low on fuel at that point, and I did just progressively, like, I kept like sleeping at aid stations, falling asleep on my feet.
Perfect.
39-hour finish, which is like my slowest by far. So we're going to try and improve upon that.
Jamil, just from the chat here, what is your shoe choice for Hard Rock? Have you put any consideration into that?
That's a great question. I have a lot more options this year than I did last year. Last year, it was an easy choice. It was the Ultra Glide from Salomon, which had just come out at the time, like their actual production model. That's definitely going to be probably in the arsenal this year. Probably be the go-to, I would say. It will most likely be the Ultra Glide, but I also have some of the new plated shoes, trail shoes, the Pulsar Trail and Pulsar Trail Pro from Salomon. And so they have the Energy Blade in there. They've got some good grip on them, so I'm tempted to give those a shot too. Probably just bring them all up, and most likely I'll probably start in the Ultra Glide just because it's a kind of a proven shoe. It can go the distance.
A little wider.
Yeah. good cushion. But I might also switch out as well. I know this direction, it runs a little bit different than the clockwise. Wait, is this the clockwise year? This is the clockwise year. It runs a little different than counterclockwise. The biggest point being a lot of the long dirt road sections you're running down these long dirt roads, and then you're kind of like scrambling up these steeper parts, whereas the opposite way, you're having to kind of climb up these long dirt roads. Like Camp Bird Road is from Ouray up towards Governor Basin. We get to just run down this road for like 10 miles. I think Walmsley, when he was doing his attempt, was running like 5-minute pace down this or something ridiculous. I don't know. I won't be going that fast probably, but yeah, it's going to be fun.
What about, let's see. Oh, how do you pronounce Ouray? Is it Ouray?
Oh God. Ouray.
Ouray?
I can't think on the spot. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Jacket choice being Juan monsoon season.
Yeah, the San Juan monsoons. So again, I will have an arsenal with me. Obviously, this is they call it a postgraduate 100-mile race, and it truly is that. There's no required gear list at Hardrock 100, just like there's no required gear list at Barkley Marathons and a lot of other races in the U.S. So it's really, you have to kind of be prepared for anything out there. This race typically gets at least one afternoon thunderstorm for several hours or even into the evening. So I'll typically run with like the Bonatti, I think they call it, Solomon waterproof jacket. It's a little lighter weight. I'll have that with me at all times. But if there's a storm incoming, my crew will definitely have varying levels of warmer gear and more waterproof gear. I've got some really heavy duty jackets that I can bust out. Even when it does rain and hail, oftentimes it's still pretty warm. So it just kind of depends on the temperatures too. Sometimes you can get a warmer storm. Sometimes you get some really cold situations out there.
Maybe.
Oh yeah. And there's been so many stories of, like going up Handy's Peak in this direction, there will likely be a storm, into the night. I paced Timothy Olson one year, I think in 2014. We had a crazy storm when I started with him, and I know Jason Coop one year, I think, hopped in a tent with someone because he didn't have enough gear with him or something. So it's just like, I don't know. You just want to be prepared for it all.
Can you describe Handy's Peak?
Handy's
Peak?
Yeah, it's one of Colorado's 14,000 foot high peaks, and it's on the Hardrock 100 course.
Is it runnable?
That's a good question. It depends on your fitness level. I mean, there are people that could run up it if they're fully acclimated, like a Francois. I don't know if he will be running it. He'll probably be hiking this late in the race because it's around mile 65 or 67. Yes, somewhere in there, 65 maybe, in this direction. So I will not be running. I will be running down it, hopefully, into Grizzly Gulch. But yeah, it's around from this side. There's one false saddle going up from the Animas Forks aid station. So you kind of go up, you dip down about 1,000 feet. So it's about a 5,000 foot climb from the previous aid station.
Wow. Okay. All right. These questions just keep coming in.
And this is climbing up Handy's here. This is from 2017.
Oh, that is?
Yeah. So this is that lighter jacket that I was wearing, and obviously we're getting some weather here as well.
And you'll be going down.
I'll be going down this way, yeah.
Right?
Everything in reverse of this video.
Do you have a favorite aid station at Hardrock?
Ooh, good question. I mean, it's tough to argue against Kroger's Canteen. It's just so iconic.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to hitting it early this year. It's like around mile 30, so it'll definitely be in the daylight. Well, in the daylight. And I guess, yeah, they oftentimes have some like mezcal or tequila shots up there. So I guess we'll be hitting that a little earlier than normal this time around. Should be fun.
Nice.
But yeah, there's like so many great aid stations, but that'd probably be my favorite. Sorry, Julie Blanda.
Is this shots fired? Jamil, what happened to your vow to be running consistently throughout the whole year?
Prove that I said that? No, I'm just kidding. Life happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we were on a positive trajectory right now.
We
so
can't think about the past.
gotta
You know,
move
all we can
forward.
think about is the current moment.
That's right.
You're in a good groove, you know?
Yep.
All right, I think we cleared out most of those. One other question that's not Hard Rock related, but there wasn't any fires that went through the Black Canyon course in like the past few months, correct? I'm aware of.
Nothing on the Black Canyon Trail recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We of course had Flagstaff. That's been the biggest one. And then Cocodona.
Gotcha.
Cocodona Trail. Yeah, like Hard Rock. Should we dive into Hard Rock more heavily? We obviously were just talking about it, or should we talk about Mount Marathon for a minute? Maybe sidestep since it just happened.
Yeah, maybe
All right.
we'll go back to Mount Marathon and then come back to Hard Rock.
All right, so Mount Marathon this year. I'm super bummed. I had an invitation to go run it and get a bib this year. I had to turn it down. I caught COVID. So maybe next year. Cross my fingers that the offer's still going to be on the table. But they did a live stream this year. Did you catch any of that?
I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
get to see it, but I saw you sending some stuff through.
Yeah, so in past years, the
It's just
local
been streamed
TV
on
station
their TV,
like
yeah.
actually did it. So they had like satellite trucks out there. They did an incredible job. They had cameras all over the mountain. They had helicopters. And I think due to like the pandemic and budget cuts, they have basically discontinued that permanently, which kind of sucks. They were one of the leaders, I feel like, in live streaming events. It was like, oh yeah, you can always tune into Mount Marathon. So they did their own this year, and I will say, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it was tough to find it, but we did eventually find it. They put it on their YouTube channel, and they had some good commentary. They had some good shots on the course. It wasn't like continuous, as good as maybe the TV station, but you got a sense for the course, and they had some shots from across the mountain, and we got to see Max King take the win for the men. His second victory was not a record time, but the big story of the day was Allie McLaughlin shattering up here. It says the women's course record set by Emily Forsberg. So now Killian and Emily's records have now been broken, and man, that is a huge statement. I feel like after what she just did at Broken Arrow and now Mount Marathon, super exciting to see Allie running so well.
Yeah, I mean, she's absolutely crushing it.
So I think her ascent time, they said on the stream, was 2 minutes faster than the record time. And she ended up breaking the record by about 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep. So 47:08, I believe, was her time. That race is so cool. The one thing, and I don't know if there's any people in the chat that know much about Mount Marathon, but the point I wanted to bring up, there's a few different ways to go. Like they don't define the path for you. And so early on, as soon as they start out in downtown Seward, and you run through the streets, you take a left, and you're kind of going up to the mountain. At the base of the mountain, there's basically a decision point there. It's like the biggest decision to make. You either go up the cliffs or you go up the routes. And I think the majority of the field goes up the cliffs. So they kind of head a little bit to the left, and then they're going up, basically up a bunch of rocks. And then it merges with where the routes come up. The routes cuts off a little bit before. And if you've watched the Run Steep Get High, like I have this Alaska is Insane video from last year. We were scouting the course, and you can see the routes in there. But yeah, you're kind of just scrambling up. If you go to Max Romy's Instagram, but yeah, here you go. Okay, that's not the actual race. Oh, here we go. That's the hiking trail, but you kind of go up. It's kind of a little bit more over here. The gut, the waterfall, the cliffs, the chute. You crisscross the course about right there where you go up, and then the down trail kind of does a figure eight. But what I thought was interesting, what I'm trying to get to, is Allie went up the routes, which I think she was the only top woman to do that. and that might, I'm curious if it's going to like define a new way that people go in the future. Because I think she was able to scramble it up so fast. She talked about in her post-race interview, she was able to get out ahead, like out of sight, out of mind of the rest of the women and just kind of pull away. She kind of snuck up and just separated herself. So I was like,
she's
interesting
such
strategy.
a strong climber too.
Yeah. You're basically like, it's almost a vertical section of these, and there's just all these roots of these trees, and you're just kind of like pulling yourself up by the roots, almost rock climbing up these roots.
Yeah.
So just thought it was an interesting observation.
Seems like a very strong like mental move. If second place doesn't know that there's somebody in first place, like that could be a game changer in how it plays out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they just had no clue she was, and yeah, the way you're going up, you're kind of in these, there's a lot of vegetation, so you can kind of get around the corner if you're like 50 yards ahead or something like that. So, but yeah, if you go to Max Romy on Instagram, he had a nice little video of her going up the routes. You can kind of see.
What was that, Max?
Max, M-A-X, Romy, the second one there. Max got to run the race for the first time this year. So, yeah, I think it's this one. So, yeah, she's the only one there. She's just by herself because everyone else is heading towards the cliffs. And it's extremely steep. You can't quite tell. Well, you can kind of tell.
Wow.
And that's her scrambling up. You can kind of see, if you go to a couple of those other videos, you can see her coming down too. So this is the cliffs. So
right there in the middle.
Yeah, you can see this is like second and third. So a lot of the field will go straight to this and kind of scramble the way up that. And then this is where you come off. They call this Glory Rock down here. They both avoid it, but a lot of people will slide down this big boulder right there and do like a little hands up because the crowds are right there. And sometimes there's some great wipeouts and everything. You can see Allie, I think she's coming down the cliffs there. Super loose, super crazy. You look at all those people lined up. That's
awesome.
Such a good atmosphere. I think she goes right up and over it. Well, guess cuts out. Come on, give us more, Max.
From the chat here, it said live stream even missed Allie until over halfway up.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember that. They're thinking that someone else was in the lead, and they're like, wait a minute, we have a timing point check-in from Allie, and she's like a minute and a half ahead. And I think they had a hard time maybe seeing her outfit. Because it's more of a neutral color with the on singlet. It's like just blended in, I guess.
Well, I mean, when you look at kind of the color of the mud on screen, I guess maybe.
Yeah, it made it blended because I think. Yeah, like the third place woman was wearing like neon pink or something like that. So, but yeah, it's a super fun race. I hope to make it back up there someday. Alaska is awesome.
Shout out to Allie Mack.
Yeah, great. Yeah, just a great year for Mount Marathon. I think last year it was still a little bit subdued. They had it on July 7th. I think they canceled the year before. Had like just an unofficial run. So. This was back on the 4th. You can see the full crowds were out there. So just great to see. 94th running, I think, this year.
That's crazy.
Should we transition back to Hardrock? Because I have a transition.
Let's hear it, see it. What you got for us?
So I found this on NNORMAL. Normal.
Oh, this is a perfect transition.
So it looks like.
So NNORMAL is Killian's new clothing / shoe wear company.
Correct.
And he posted that they're hiring.
Yep.
Okay, so you can apply to work for them?
Well, that's what.
What does this have to do with Hardrock?
I mean, if you look at the actual post here, which I'll pull it up, looks like an Indeed job opportunity for Hardrock 100-mile pacer. The responsibilities are not to run faster than him or much slower. You get to guide him through the whole route and contribute to the first normal race in the United States. It sounds pretty legit, and only 31 people have applied.
I think chances are pretty good.
That's what I'm saying.
Have more people applied since?
I don't know.
Well, can you try and apply? So basically, they have a job opening to be Killian's pacer at Hardrock 100. This is like novel idea.
Is it really set up, or is all of this just photoshopped?
Go down. Well, can you click on the post? I think it's a post here.
Yep.
No, this is real.
Is it?
Apply now. If you want to be Killian's pacer in a race as special as Hardrock, tell us more about yourself. Are you ready? We'll announce the profile chosen through our Strava club. Join and find out if you're the pacer who will accompany Killian in his legendary American event.
Bryce, you trying to apply or what, dude?
It doesn't
I mean,
hurt.
you just won Circle of Death. Or
Do you want to
what
be an
was it?
official pacer at Hardrock? Join. 502 people have filled this out.
Okay.
So there's a type form here.
Should we go through it?
I mean, if you want to apply, I don't know what it's going to ask you. Why not? This is a novel idea. This is a great idea. I mean, it's brilliant.
We could have crowdsourced your pacers.
Ooh.
Oh.
2 best race performances. What you got, Bryce?
Oh, man.
Well, you barely lost to Nick Curry at Ram Party.
That might be up there just because it's a longer distance. It's the only longer distance one I have. Born to Run is my fastest for sure in a 30-mile.
I mean, I think you should. I mean, this is almost like Barkley application status. Like, why should you be allowed to be Killian's pacer? You got to sell yourself here.
You know what?
Well, you've thru-hiked the Arizona Trail.
That's up there. I think my amount of Cocodona pacing might be applicable somewhere on here.
So, like, what was your because they're going to want to probably look for people that can keep up with him. So I think if you can show something there, you're fast.
So that's Born to Run.
So, say, did you win it?
I lost by 1 second.
Okay. So second place, Born to Run, 50K, 30 miler, and then put your, what time?
3:24.
Oh, yeah. That definitely needs to go on there. That's legit. I would put that on there. And then, I don't know, Ram Party second place. Is that the most?
Third, right?
Or third place?
Third place.
Would that be more applicable probably than, I don't know, through hiking the Arizona Trail?
I don't know.
Probably.
Maybe.
Race performances. So
Yeah. I mean, the 2 people who beat you at Ram Party were legit.
you can do an enter to make a line break if you want to.
Oh, I see. Oh.
Sorry.
Did that work?
I think you got most of it.
All right, yeah, good enough.
Ooh, Strava profile, nice.
This is awesome.
This is legit. You always count on Limbus to come up with some good marketing moves,
Yeah.
Let's see the line on the end. It does. Maybe I'll do the rest of this in a little bit.
All right, it's up to you, man.
But
that's super cool. So Bryce is going to apply. We'll see what happens with that.
Do you think they'll let you carry a GoPro if you are chosen?
They can't stop you.
I mean, you're his guest.
They might request.
You're his guest of honor.
It's not a big responsibility. That's so cool, though. But yeah, NNORMAL, I mean, they've got 2 athletes running the race this year. They've got Dakota Jones and Killian both running. So they're going to be making it sounds like they're doing some marketing moves, drawing some attention to their new brand. Of course, Killian's coming off his Zagama course record. And I just saw from Dakota, he's finished the race 3 times out of 4 attempts. He hasn't raced a lot lately, but he's been spending a lot of time in the mountains. I think he's got a good mindset coming into it this year. So he's placed as high as second here before. So it's going to be a great field.
The field is incredible.
Just get
Jeff
into
Browning is in the field. And then obviously Francois, your defending champion.
And course record holder. He's also trying to become a true hard rocker this year.
Yeah.
Coming back. Daniel Jung, I'm probably totally mispronouncing his last name, and I apologize. He...
From Italy.
Yeah, he has done well. Top 10 at TDS. He's very strong. Hong Kong 100K, that's probably why I know the name. He was second in 2017. He's a strong runner, for sure.
Nick, obviously running.
Oh, he won Diagonal de Fou in 2021. Oh, God.
Oh, wow.
Dude, this is stacked. Oh, man. Stephen Moore, legit. John Kelly. First official 100 miler. Can you believe that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're just blinking over here.
Well, no, I
disbelief.
well, it's when I lived in Atlanta, I'd seen him at some races in kind of the southeast, and I was like, wait, and they were 50 miles.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
he's kind of done stuff on either end. Like obviously,
Well,
all
and he's
these
done
really,
some big runs over in the UK.
yeah, like JFK, Hellgate. He's done a bunch of stuff longer. He won the Franklin's 200 miler.
Mm-hmm.
He's finished Tour de Jaunt, but besides Barkley, which some argue isn't a traditional 100 miler, it really isn't, but it's his first 100. So he's been up there training and acclimating. So that's going to be fun to watch him. Yeah, Jeff Browning. You got Luke Nelson, I think, finally getting in after like a decade of trying.
Coop.
You got Coop in there. Nick Curry.
He's got a few top 5 finishes.
Nick, yep.
Yeah. Obviously, maybe coming in a little less ideal than he would have liked.
Yeah, probably about the opposite of what he was hoping for.
Yeah.
He was hoping for a little bit more.
Andy Pearson,
yes,
also in.
Very stoked for that. On the women's side, absolutely stacked.
Oh, gosh.
Absolutely stacked. You got a lot of your kind of like usual suspects, but is this the first year of the new kind of like gender splits, I believe, where they had the separate women's lottery this year? I believe it is.
For some reason, I thought they'd
maybe last year,
but I could be wrong.
I forget. It might have been last year. You can correct me in the chat, but basically you're going to see, you got 27 women in the field. There are a bunch of years where it's like, oh, there's 12 women running hard rock out of 144. So they guaranteed the same percentage of women that applied and like qualified and applied. There's going to be at least that many women in the race, which I think is amazing. You got 27 women in the race this year, which is probably the most ever. You got Darcy PQ, former winner of the race multiple times over. You got Sabrina Stanley, 2 wins now?
Courtney D.
Courtney gets another chance at it after her withdrawal last year. She's going to be wanting to get to that finish line. Angela Chartel, who has won Mogollon, quite a few other 100-mile races. You got Maggie Gutierrez from Durango, so she's been training on the course a bunch. You got Megan Hicks running, I believe. Yep. You got the Betsies, Betsy Kallmeyer, Betsy Nye. They've both won the race before. You have, who else? Stephanie Case is an interesting one. Who else am I missing here? Amanda Grimes, Silverton local. Joanna Ford. I don't know this name, but she looks to be strong. Canadian, has done well up there. So, yeah, that's my quick overview.
I'm stoked. Both fields are so loaded.
The chat wants predictions, if you have them, for winners of Hard Rock. Or is that something we should hold off for Fantasy Free Trail?
Well, this will be our last episode pre-Hard
Well, yeah,
Rock.
I think I might try and do an Aravaipa Trail talk, but maybe with Nick somewhere in Colorado. Like, we might just do a live version of the two of us.
Love it.
And just go
maybe
deeper.
talk a little trash about who's going to beat
or
who.
strategy, maybe. I think we might end up working together. Best case scenario, just to see how much fitness he's lost and how he's probably going to take it really easy, I would imagine. Like, he's not going to push it at all.
Yeah. Well, until the last, half mile when he has to outkick you.
Yeah, the last downhill, notoriously. I mean, I think it's tough. If Courtney's on and feeling good, it's tough. I would not bet against Courtney Dauwalter. I think that she could do something crazy at this race, just considering what she did at UTMB and what she does everywhere. I think a healthy Courtney is going to be unbeatable here. Living at altitude in Leadville, now coming back with some experience and a chip on her shoulder.
I would agree. I think that after it was last year, right? After last year, I feel like maybe Courtney has a bit to prove, just based on how that race panned out for her, and everything like that. So I think that she's going to be coming in really motivated to prove that when she's on the starting line, she is typically the person to watch.
And that is going to motivate the heck out of Sabrina Stanley. So that is going to be fun to see, because that's what she's asking. She's like, I think she wants to go head to head against a healthy Courtney and see what happens. So
no, for sure. Based on Sabrina's post-race interview last year, I believe she's very excited to toe the line against a healthy Courtney.
So the men's field is, I think, man, this is really tough. Yeah. Just the fact that you have Killian versus Francois at Hardrock, the only way this could be better is if you had Jim Walmsley lining up. And that would be just ultimate, like, all-time lineup. I mean, Debo too. Let's throw him in there. But Jim, Francois, Killian on the Hardrock 100, would there be anything better?
No, and because we've seen them at UTMB before, right? But that is a much different type of mountain race. And so I think, especially given the amount of time Jim has typically spent in the San Juans, I think that would be pretty epic. But
I think
this
me,
year's
like,
lineup
is
is
just so special to me too.
sick.
What's that?
This year's lineup is still so sick.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know. Like, if I have to choose between those two, it's really tough. I mean, we saw Francois run a 21:45 last year, which in this direction was, like, pretty insane. I think it was an hour 45 off of Killian's best time in that direction, and almost an hour off of his time in the opposite direction, this year's direction, which was supposedly the easier direction, which I don't think it matters that much. And I think Francois proved that.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting to see what happens, because these guys could just push each other to, like, some unbelievable, like, what Jim was trying to prove is possible here, which is sub 21 hours? Is sub 20 hours possible here at Hardrock? I don't know.
Wouldn't that be nuts?
I wouldn't put it against someone necessarily.
What's awesome is, like, Killian is coming in having already shown that he is incredibly fit, And so his performance at Zagama, I think, is, like, the stamp of approval that, like, he hasn't lost anything. And so for him to be coming in super fit and for Francois to be Francois, yeah, I mean, that is super exciting, and it shows how incredible those two athletes are, given that, like, we're not even mentioning the people like Jeff Browning or Dakota Jones as, like, even in that conversation.
I mean, they're
and they're like, those two guys are going to be running, like, really well and are probably going to, like, have great races and finish really high. But it just shows, like,
you never know what's going to happen. I mean, Xavier out here with Jeff Browning, not to take anything away from Jeff Browning's win, but, you never know what's going to happen out there.
No, for sure.
And even, like, I mean, Killian dropped out of UTMB one year with, like, a stomach thing. So, Courtney had dropped out last year. Like, you wouldn't have foresaw that or forecasted that at all. So
it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a great year. Any questions in the chat?
Wait, so did we pick?
We didn't pick. Has Killian been at altitude at all? Have you seen anything? I haven't seen anything. I mean, Francois is already here. He's I think it was up on Handy's, like, yesterday or the day before. So
send in Debo love videos.
And so, yeah, this is his third year. He came 2 years ago also to just run on the course. And I mean, man, Francois is, like, one of the best all time in the mountains. But I also love Killian.
So is Killian, though, right?
So hard. Do you have to pick? I don't want to pick. What do you got? Anything?
I'd go with Francois. Tried and true.
Look at that.
In the mountains, I'm with Matt.
That breaks my heart.
Yeah.
To even utter those words.
I think Killian, Francois is just, like, more recently done
his
better.
Performance last year was, like, bananas.
He was just like toying around with Debo too, probably, huh? Just like, whatever.
Poor Debo.
But Killian is like also did that at Hardrock. I don't think he's had anyone to push him to his potential. At
Well,
this
he
race.
won one year using his hydration pack as a sling.
Yeah, and he's just like, he's won like 4 times. Just like had no one to really push him the whole way. So I think it's going to be a special year on both sides. I think we could see records. I would expect to see records on both sides. So Diana Finkel and Sabrina Stanley. It's actually funny. A lot of the women's records are all from the odd years as well. So I think that's been debunked. The whole like which way is faster thing. But I think, Diana Finkel's 27:18. Sabrina Stanley ran a 27:21 last year. I think records are going to fall on both sides. That's my prediction. Even though the race is like 1.8 miles longer than normal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it'll matter.
It's going to be great. Do you feel ready for that extra 1.8 miles?
No. I don't feel ready for 100 miles. When was the last? I mean, my last 100-mile attempt was Mogollon, where I dropped out. So,
but that was like a week after UTMB or like 2 weeks after UTMB or something.
Yeah, but
and you did
I don't
finish
know, like,
that.
But it's been since like last August that I've finished a 100-miler. So, it kind of, I've done it so many times that I should probably give it more respect that it deserves. But in my head, I'm like, oh.
It's like riding a bike.
I've done this a bunch of times. Like, I'm just going to go do it, but it's a lot of pain that's coming up. And I haven't had a lot of long runs. I mean, I did a 4.5 hour time on feet run on Sunday in Flagstaff, came up there. But other than that, I mean, my previous long run was like, I think a Mogollon training run with Sensman in April. That was like 19 miles. It's been a drought of long runs and consistency. So
fresh legs.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm really approaching this with basically no expectations. I want to have fun. I want to have a good time out there. If I can link up and run with my brother, as long as we can stay together, I think that's probably going to be a strategy. And hopefully just enjoy the tour of the San Juan Mountains. I mean, they say this is a run, not a race, and I'm treating it like that this year more than any. And yeah,
love it.
We're gonna make some mashed potato burritos, and I'm
go.
gonna buy some fresh nutrition, and it's gonna be great.
Are you planning on taking a video out there, a camera out there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I kind of have to at this point. I'll have a GoPro with me, and I think we probably. I've been trying to just wrap my head around running the race, but I think we're probably going to have maybe 1 or 2 folks helping to do some extra filming. We're thinking about, I mean, this is kind of a special year for me, having run it in this like opposite way for the first time, but also Nick and I both coming into it with like questionable
fitness levels.
Sure, yeah. Like, we don't know. Like, can I come off very low training volume and finish the Hardrock 100 and become a true hard rocker? Can Nick come off of an injury and a recent like PRP treatment and finish the Hardrock 100? And who's gonna beat who? I don't know. Or are we gonna hold hands at the finish? I have no idea. That's what I got.
Love it.
Nick's gonna outkick
so excited for this.
I don't know. Maybe I've got that like years of fitness, and that's probably what I'm hoping. That's what will happen is like once you get going, it's like, oh yeah, this is just like clockwork. And
yeah,
I think the biggest thing for me, I don't have the altitude. I won't have the altitude training. I'll have, like I said, about a week up there. Nick's been up there a lot longer than me. He's been up in the San Juans for I think a couple months now, so he's got that dialed for sure.
Nice.
Should we jump into some quick takes?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I lost track of time, but
let's see what we got.
All right, so this section of the show, if you are just joining us, we've gathered some fun, quirky things in the sport, some items to react to. We haven't really seen these before, so you're gonna get our raw reactions.
Covered Allie Mack already.
Historic.
This actually was
Shout out Allie.
This was a submission
Nice.
from Chris
Ooh.
Warden.
Oh.
Dang. I love that we're getting the submissions. This is great.
I think there should be more of this. Don't celebrate too early. So this is a triathlon. In the bag.
Just breaks the tape. He's devastated.
There's a few of these, but nobody seems as upset with losing it as this guy.
Comes out of nowhere.
That's going to be you and Nick.
I'll be celebrating early. Dude, I've won a sprint kick to the finish of Hardrock before.
Over Nick?
No, Rob Youngren in 2013. He tried, or I passed him with 5 miles to go, and he stuck right behind me, and we raced head to head all the way to the finish line. I beat him by 1 second. So brutal.
Did
so
you have
painful.
to kiss the rock?
Yeah. So sprint finish, face into rock. That's what you do. Oh, nice. Good update here.
Checking in on Witt.
Shout out Witt.
So it seems like he's doing a lot better than the first round. He is 702 miles done. This was posted 2 days ago, so I'm sure he's another 100 plus miles in at this point. But he's at Kennedy Meadows, so I pulled up a little map, and he's right about there.
Ooh.
Coming up from
Nice.
Mexico.
So he's probably going up Whitney now, or maybe yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He's that High Sierra, John Muir Trail section of the PCT. But yeah, at least he's kind of through the desert section, which I think is one of the most worrisome sections.
Yeah, what did he say about it? The desert brought me to my knees over and over, which for this time of year, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah,
Good on Witt for making it through that.
being like one of the last to leave going northbound so late in the year, it's pretty crazy.
So yeah, we'll
Let's go Witt.
And he also, it's actually, so it's String Bean who's managing his social media while he's on trail. So he calls String Bean and gives him updates, and some of the posts are just kind of like the manuscript of the voicemails, and they're pretty neat to listen to.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll keep following around with that. Mike McKnight. So this weekend is Badwater 135.
Oh, that like was off
Wow.
my radar. Whoopsies.
I went through the entrance list, and Mike McKnight was like the big name that stuck out to me, and I saw he posted on Instagram.
Sally McRae is running again, right?
Is she?
She's doing like a big project. She's doing a bunch of like 6 or 8 big races between now and the end of the year. I think she said, I don't know if she's just sandbagging, but because she won last year.
Yep.
But she's like, oh, this is part of a bigger project. I'm not necessarily going for the win, but we'll see. We will have our eyes on Badwater for sure.
Keep an eye on it.
So
Report
that's
back.
this next. Isn't it usually started on a Monday, I think?
It's like the 11th or something.
Yeah, that's right. Because Hard Rock used to be a week earlier. I think there was at least one crazy that would run Hard Rock Friday through Sunday.
Oh, seriously?
And then like go immediately over. I think I've paced at both in the same year, or like, I don't know.
That's a lot.
We all do crazy stuff.
I saw this online. There's actually a petition.
I think we got asked to share this or something.
Did we?
Maybe. And we're like, we're not going to share it. Well, at least like on our
Right.
try and promote it. But yeah, we will shout it out on the show for sure. Truehart Brown, we talked a little bit about this. There's a petition trying to get the attention of the board of Western States, I guess.
Yeah.
They do have a special consideration entry, or maybe a sponsor, like you said too.
Yes, and it's not going to matter because he's signed up for Black Canyon.
He's going to get there.
Back-to-back champ.
That's right. Defending champ.
How many people have won Black Canyon 100K in back-to-back years?
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I don't know if it's been done.
Could be a first.
I like this idea. I just want to try this at some point, especially if it's like mosquito. Like at Western, at Green Gate, I would have caught a lot of mosquitoes with this.
This is definitely like a Midwest thing, right?
Yeah, it looks very, very Midwestern.
So
Cool.
is this like a math problem? Like we have to figure out how many miles they went?
Yeah, pretty much. I guess those are deer flies, which bite painfully.
So it's like 17 by my count. So do the math and you can figure out they went like 2 and 2 something
I
miles.
think somebody did in here. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yeah. In one of the other communities, somebody did the math. I think it was, some 2 point something.
Perfect. We can do math.
Love it.
Weird sport of the week. Brought to you again by the UK.
Just silence it so we don't get demonetized.
Yep. This was actually, so there was a chat recommendation for bog snorkeling. And then they actually took it a step further, and this is mountain bike bog snorkeling. And so what they're going to do is they have this specific canal, and they have a specific bike.
It's not going very well.
So the bike is weighted down with lead weights, and I believe the participant is also wearing weights to weight the bike down to the bottom. And so you have to be completely submerged with only your head out of the water, and you have to go down
No way.
in this bog, do I think a loop, and then come back. And
60-meter trench.
And I think a lot of these people are honestly, they go down, maybe not this guy looks really set up and official, but some of them I think are going down and just dragging the bike through the mud, like underneath them. But this is a sport.
What? This is thrilling.
Not as intense as bed racing.
Oh, goodness.
But
The
just as
UK has
weird.
all the wackiest stuff.
Every single one of them.
Mountain bike bog
We
snorkeling.
do have the peanut pushing, though, so...
The peanut pushing, yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. That is taking place on the
Sitting there with the pipe,
8th?
spectating in the peat bog. Yeah, the peanut thing is rolling soon, huh? I think just in a couple days it gets started.
I think it's
Yep.
in between Silverton, Kendall, and Hardrock.
You want me to push a peanut up Kendall Mountain?
No,
That'll be my last training effort.
I think that he's set to start in between
July
between
9th.
Kendall and Hardrock, right?
9th through the 17th, so...
That's
Also
that's a
Silverton
pretty quick
again.
push.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's go, Miller. Oh no, Salem.
so
Let's
those are my
go.
quick takes of this week.
Nice. Solid
Um,
ones.
Should we roll through the chat?
Any last
questions?
questions? Drop them in now, because we're coming to the end of the show.
What's harder, Hard Rock or Uray?
I have never done that race, but it has a lot more gain. But it's also a lot of like dirt road out and backs. I don't know. It's like give or take.
Let's just say it. Hardrock.
Hard Rock. I mean, I prefer Hard Rock, but
Do you think Jim signed up to pace Killian?
no, because he's in Europe.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Could you imagine Jim filling out the online application?
I mean, he would probably pace Francois if he was here.
Yeah.
Got somebody asking, who is Truehart Brown?
Who is Truehart Brown? Truehart Brown. Get out of the chat section. You don't deserve to be here. No. Truehart Brown, he burst onto the scene, Black Canyon this year. He gapped one of the most competitive Black Canyon fields we've ever had off the track and was like a half mile ahead at the first aid station 7 miles in. He led wire to wire. He won the race, won a golden ticket for Western States this year, and he had to withdraw due to the pipeline fire. He's like a incident command for Flagstaff Fire, wildland firefighter, and so yeah, wasn't able to run Western States this year due to the fire in his local trails. That's
That
Truehart
sums it
Brown
up.
for you.
That's True Brown.
There's a
Let's
couple
go.
interviews out there, I think, with some folks after Black Canyon. You can go learn more about him.
Is there a most likely place on the Hardrock course for people to drop?
Most likely to drop?
Yeah, location-wise.
Probably at in this direction. I mean, Ure would be a big drop point. Probably you're 45 miles in. I would think formerly Grouse Gulch, now Animas Forks, would be a pretty big drop point, because once you leave there, unless your crew wants to drive like over this crazy Cinnamon Pass road or all the way around to Lake City, a lot of crews won't go to Sherman at mile 70. So you have this like 30-mile stretch without crew from Animas Forks to Cunningham. So I think if you're feeling really bad there, if your race is not going well, I think that's an easy spot to drop at, because your crew can go to that spot. So I think those two in this direction would be the biggest drop points.
All right.
That's my anecdotal evidence.
Love it.
Is Javelina 100 happening this year?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Javelina 100.
Yeah.
Halloween, baby. I think that's most of the questions. I think we nabbed most of them in the chat here.
I will say the Ure 100 course record is 30:46. So, I mean, I would say it's probably harder than Hardrock. It has a lot more climbing. So, and the women's record is 34:26. So, as far as like, it's definitely slower.
Are you ever
But
going
also
to do it?
Francois hasn't done it, so I don't know.
You
I don't
gonna-
have
Do you
plans.
have any
to.
ambitions for it?
Mm-mm.
Cool.
Not really. Not at this point. I have one ambition.
Let's get through next weekend.
No, it's 5 loops at Barkley.
Oh, yes. But in the immediate future.
Yeah, immediate future.
Survive in advance, baby.
I think
That all
that's
you got
I
for us, Bryce?
That's all I got for you.
Nice. Well, thank you, Matt and Bryce, for joining us again this year. I said I just did this to Skylar. I was like, thanks, Skylar, for joining us. It's like you guys are the regulars here. So, yeah, let us know in the comments if you guys appreciate this show, if you want more of it. We might do some guests at some point. We've got a couch we could pull up over here. We might get some in-studio guests. But the plan right now is if we do a show next week, it'll probably be live with me and Nick somewhere in Colorado. And other than that, we'll be back in studio in 2 weeks
Yep.
with a Hard Rock recap. We'll be a few days post Hard Rock.
That's going to be an epic one.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of stories. We'll also, if we don't talk about it next week, we'll probably also talk about Kendall and Silverton Alpine
Yep.
results from that and what went down.